Sparklers have been brightening up parties for decades, adding pyrotechnic glitter to weddings and birthday celebrations. They evolved from traditional fireworks and are the only kind that are safe to handle when lit. So, lighting one definitely brings a sparkle to any occasion. The splash of flash can last a minute or more, depending on the length of the sparkler. They start with steel wires that are about 50 centimeters long. They load bundles of them into slots of a sorting machine. The machine vibrates and the wires fall, in single file, into smaller openings. The operator then moves a spring-loaded wooden rack into position. It opens like the bellows of an accordion. The operator rocks the sorting machine overhead and the wires drop into the slits of the rack, perfectly aligned. After 300 sparkler wires have fallen into position, the operator pulls a handle to close the rack. Now clamped in the accordion-style rack, the wires are ready to move onto the next stage. Wires for parade sparklers are much longer, 90 centimeters in fact, which means they're heavier than ordinary sparklers. The operator loads each of these wires manually into a rack that's larger and sturdier than the last one. The system of loading is a lot more time-consuming, but parade sparklers are worth the extra trouble. Burn for up to 4 minutes. Next, an operator loads boric acid and barium nitrate into a mixing tank. The barium nitrate is an oxidizer and will help the sparkler burn. The boric acid is a neutralizer. He adds water and mixes in cornstarch to bind all the ingredients together. Next, he pours in some very fine iron filings. These bits of iron will give the sparklers their gold colour. The operator then suits up in protective gear and closes the door. He's the only one allowed inside to load the sparkler's most volatile ingredient, aluminium powder. Once mixed into a wet slurry, the powder becomes virtually harmless, so they don't need to take as many safety precautions. Chain conveyors now move the rack of sparkler wires into position. An elevator lifts up a tank of the slurry to dip the wires in. The next rack of wires then moves forward for dipping. 163 wires move through this dipping station every hour. They go through a second dipping station for one more coating. The two coatings double the diameter of the wires. After each dip, wires ride an overhead rail through an oven to bake the sparkler slurry until it's hard. An inspector then examines each sparkler. She checks for cracks and defects. Any wire that's flawed will be rejected, because these sparklers have to outshine the competition. It takes her 3 minutes to examine the 300 sparklers on a rack. They check the diameter of each sparkler by sliding it through a template, and they bend it to check its integrity. The sparklers have been stored for a week prior to packaging to allow them to cure. And now, they're ready for a party, where their razzle-dazzle's sure to make them the centre of attention.